Hello everyone, my name is Tansuri from the school SNK Sina Bintang, and the book that I'll be introducing is The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, based on a true story. And I'll start by the summary of this book. Anne's diary begins on her 13th birthday, June 12, 1942, and ends shortly after her 15th. At the start of her diary, Anne describes fairly typical girlhood experiences. The Franks have to move to the Netherlands in the years leading up to World War II to escape persecution in Germany. After the Germans invaded the Netherlands in 1940, the Franks were forced into hiding with another family, the Van Daans, and an acquaintance, Mr. Dussel. They moved into a small secret annex above Otto Frank's office where they had stockpiled foods and supplies. The employees from Otto's firm helped hide the Franks and kept them supplied with food, medicine, and information about the outside world. The residents of the annex paid close attention to every development of the war by listening to the radio. Some bits of the news catch Anne's attention and make their way into her diary, providing a vivid historical context for personal thoughts. The adults make optimistic bets about when the war will end, and their mood is severely affected by Allied setbacks and German advances. Amsterdam is devastated by the war during the 2 years the Franks are in hiding. All the city's residents suffer since food becomes more scarce and robberies more frequent. And often writes about her feelings of isolation and loneliness. She has a turbulent relationship with the adults in the annex, particularly her mother, whom she considers lacking in love and affection. She adores her father, but she is frequently scolded by and criticized by Mr. and Mrs. Van Daan and Mr. Dussel. Anne thinks that her sister Margaret is smart, pretty, and agreeable, but she does not feel close to her and does not write much about her. Anne eventually develops a close friendship with Peter Van Daan, the teenage boy in the annex. Mr. Frank does not approve, however, and the intensity of Anne's infatuation begins the lesson. Anne matures considerably throughout the course of her diary entries, moving from detailed accounts of basic activities to deeper, more profound thoughts about humanity and her own personal nature. She finds it difficult to understand why the Jews are being singled out and persecuted. She also confronts her own identity. Though she considers herself to be German, her German citizenship has been revoked, and though she calls Holland her home, many of the Dutch have turned against the Jews. Anne feels a tremendous solidarity with her aggrieved people, and yet at the same time, she wants to be seen as an individual rather than a member of a persecuted group. During the 2 years recorded in her diary, Anne deals with confinement and deprivation, as well as the complicated and difficult issues of growing up in the brutal circumstances of the Holocaust. Her diary describes a struggle to define herself within this climate of oppression. Anne's diary ends without a comment on August 1st, 1944, the end of a seemingly normal day that leaves us with the expectation of seeing another entry on the next page. However, the Frank family is betrayed to the Nazis and arrested on August 4th, 1944. Anne's diary, the observations of an imaginative, friendly, sometimes petty, and rather normal teenage girl comes to an abrupt and silent end. Otto Frank is the family's sole survivor, and he recovers Anne's diary from Miette. He decided to fulfill Anne's wishes by publishing the diary. Anne's diary becomes a condemnation of the unimaginable horror of the Holocaust, and one of the few accounts that describe it from a young person's perspective. As you can see, there are many important messages in this book, but the most important message is that all people have the right to live in freedom. Anne's story shows us that just because people may be a different religion or race doesn't mean that they should be treated differently. And I agree with Anne. The terrible treatment of Jewish people during the war has shown this. Her diary shows us things that people don't think about now. For example, how every day the people in hiding worried about maybe being found and punished. And that is all for today. Thank you for listening to this introduction.